Hello, how are you all today? My name is Mr. Wood. I am a teacher at the high school. I may have had your mom or your dad. I've been around for a bit. I teach government and I teach economics, and I love the book that we are going to read today. Horton Hears A Who by Dr. Suess. It was written in 1954, 3 years before I was born. And I can't wait to share the story with you. So, these are my headphones. I'm going to put my headphones on so that I can hear myself better. So, let me do that. And let's begin. This is a story about elephants. Elephants are very cool. Elephants are extremely cool animals. A couple years ago, I went to Laos. And Laos is a little country that is, it's over by China. You can see it on the map. It's squeezed between, I think, China and Cambodia and Vietnam, just a little country. And it used to be filled with elephants, filled with them. And there aren't so many elephants there anymore. But you can go there and you can ride elephants. And it is so cool to ride an elephant. They're so gentle. You spend the whole day with them and you have a rider and you feed the elephants and you go back in the jungle in the elephants and you ride on top of the elephants. And then with your driver, you go down into the river. You go down into the Mekong Delta and you bathe the elephant. You scrub the top of its head with a scrub brush, and its ears flap, and their skin is so thick, it's so heavy. And these are beautiful, 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 beautiful animals. They're so big. You have to be careful. The drivers are specialized in the elephants, and there's no way at all that you could do that without the drivers, because these elephants, they're so big. They're just so big and so gentle. And then here, let me show you this too. I've got this carving. I have a carving. I got this carving in Swaziland. Now, if you look on a map and you look down at the bottom of Africa, inside of South Africa, you'll see a country that is called Swaziland. And Swaziland is the land of the Zulus. They were the black native Africans before the Afrikaners and the English came. And I was able to get this. I was able to go to Swaziland, and I went to like a giant garage sale. It was kind of like a giant flea market. And the guy was carving. He was making carvings. And he carved this. He had already carved it, and he sold it to me. And it's beautiful, and it reminds me of the elephants in South Africa, the elephants in Thailand. They're my favorite animal, next to my cat, the little one. So let me put my elephant back, and then we will start this story, okay? Pardon me if I get a little excited reading this story. I read it to my juniors in government because that's 17-year-olds, because I think this story is so important. It's about things that matter, you know? It's about standing up for the little guy. It's about standing up for people who need someone to stand up for them, frankly. And it's also about doing the right thing, you know? About not being afraid to do the right thing. You know in your heart and in your soul what the right thing is. You just listen to your little Whoville in your conscience, and it tells you, it guides you on what to do. So this will remind you of that. Horton Hears a Who by Dr. Seuss, 1954. Feel free to ask questions if you have them. However, I am recording this, so I won't be able to answer your questions. Your mother and your father might be able to, or they might not. Ask away. On the 15th of May, in the jungle of Newell, in the heat of the day, in the cool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton the elephant heard a small noise. So Horton stopped splashing. He looked towards the sound. That's funny, thought Horton. There's no one around. Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if some tiny person were calling for help. I'll help you, said Horton. But who are you? Where? He looked and he looked. He could see nothing there but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. I say, murmured Horton, I've never heard tell of a small speck of dust that is able to yell. So you know what I think? Why, I think that there must be someone on top of that small speck of dust, some sort of creature of very small size, too small to be seen by an elephant's eyes. Some poor little person who's shaking with fear that he'll blow in the pool that he has no way to steer. I'll just have to save him, because after all, a person's a person, no matter how small. That is the key to this entire story. A person is a person, no matter how small. Onward, so gently. And using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air. And he lifted the dust speck and carried it over and placed it down safe on a very soft clover. Their trunks are so cool. Those things just move up and around and into the air, and they throw water over their heads, and they grab food from the pile or from the trees. And so gently, and using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air, and he lifted the dust speck and carried it over and placed it down soft on a very safe clover. Humph! Humped a voice. 'Twas a sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, humph too. Why, that speck is as small as the head of a pin. A person on that wide there never has been. Believe me, said Horton, I tell you sincerely, my ears are quite keen and I've heard them quite clearly. I know there's a person down there, and what's more, quite clearly there's two, even three, even four, quite likely. A family for all that we know, a family with children just starting to grow. So please, Horton said, as a favor to me, try not to disturb them. Just please let them be. I think you're a fool, laughed the sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me too. You're the biggest blamed fool in the jungle of Newell, and the kangaroos plunged in the cool of the pool. Now this story does not put kangaroos in a good light. I've never met a kangaroo. I've never washed a kangaroo or ridden a kangaroo or talked with a kangaroo. These are not nice kangaroos. These are not nice kangaroos. So if you have met a kangaroo and you find them friendly, then please try not to see this as a reflection of all kangaroos. What a terrible splashing, the elephant frowned. I can't let my very small persons get drowned. I've got to protect them. I'm bigger than they. So he plucked up the clover and hustled away. Through the jungle high treetops, the news quickly spread. He talks to the dust speck. He's out of his head. Just look at him walk with that speck on that flower. And Horton walked worrying almost an hour. Should I put this speck down? Horton thought with alarm. If I do, these small persons may come to great harm. I can't put it down, and I won't. After all, a person's a person, no matter how small. Then Horton stopped walking. The specked voice was talking. The voice was so faint he could just barely hear it. Speak up, please, said Horton. He put his ear near it. My friend, came the voice. You're a very fine friend. You've helped all us folks on this dust speck no end. You've saved all our houses, our ceilings and floors. You've saved all our churches and grocery stores. You mean? Horton gasped. You have buildings there too? Oh, yes, piped the voice. We most certainly do. I know, called the voice. I'm too small to be seen, but I'm mayor of a town that is friendly and clean. Our buildings to you would seem terribly small, but to us, who aren't big, they are wonderfully tall. My town is called Whoville, for I am a Who. And we Whos are grateful and thankful to you. And Horton called back to the mayor of the town, you're safe now. Don't worry, I won't let you down. But just as he spoke to the mayor of the speck, three big jungle monkeys climbed up Horton's neck. The Wickersham brothers came shouting, what rot! This elephant's talking to Whos who are not. There aren't any Whos and they don't have a mayor and we're going to stop all this nonsense, so there. Oh, the Wickersham boys. The Wickersham brothers. These guys are from not to kill. And these guys are not good guys at all. As they snatched Horton's clover, they carried it off to a black bottom eagle named Vladikoff, a mighty strong eagle of very swift wing, and they said, would you kindly get rid of this thing? And before the poor elephant could even speak, that eagle flew off with the flower in his beak. This is not good. And all that late afternoon and far into the night, the black-bottomed bird flapped its wings in fast flight, while Horton chased after with groans over stones that tattered his toenails and battered his bones and begged, please don't harm all my little folks who have as much right to live as us bigger folks do. But far, far beyond him, that eagle kept flapping, and over his shoulder called back, quit your yapping. I'll fly through the night. I'm a bird, I don't mind it, and I'll hide this tomorrow where you'll never find it. Oh my God. Oh, this is not good. And at 6:56 the next morning, he did it. It surely was a terrible place that he hid it. He let that small clover drop somewhere inside of a great patch of clovers 100 miles wide. Find that, sneered the bird, but I think you will fail. And he left with a flip of his black-bottomed tail. I'll find it, cried Horton. I'll find it or bust. I shall find my friends on that small speck of dust, and clover by clover by clover with care. He picked up and searched them and called, are you there? But clover by clover by clover, he found that the ones that he sought for were just not around. And by noon, poor old Horton, more dead than alive, had picked, searched, and piled up 9,005. Then on through the afternoon, hour after hour, till he found them at last on the 3,000,000th flower. Oh, he looked so tired. My friends, cried the elephant, tell me, do tell, are you safe? Are you sound? Are you whole? Are you well? From down on the speck came the voice of the mayor. We've really had trouble, much more than our share. When that black-bottomed birdie let go and we dropped, we landed so hard that our clocks They've all stopped. Our teapots are broken. Our rocking chair smashed. And our bicycle tires all blew up when we crashed. So Horton, please, pleaded the voice of the mayor, will you stick by us Who's while we're making repairs? It's a mess. I mean, it's a mess. You look, the flowers are a mess. The clocks are broken. The umbrella is broken. The bicycle tires, everything. It looks like an earthquake. It looks like Whoville has been hit with an earthquake. Of course, answered Horton. Of course I will stick. I will stick by you small folks through thin and through thick. Humph! Humped a voice. For almost 2 days you run wild in us. Yeah, the kangaroo is back. This frigging kangaroo is back. Back. I told you about kangaroos. Humph! Humped the voice. For almost 2 days you've run wild and insisted on chatting with persons who've never existed. From carryings on in our peaceable jungle, we've had quite enough of your bellowing bungle, and I'm here to state, snapped the big kangaroo, that your silly, nonsensical game is all through. And the young kangaroo and her pouch said, me too. With the help of the Wickersham brothers and dozens of Wickersham uncles and Wickersham cousins and Wickersham in-laws whose help I've engaged, you're going to be roped and you're going to be caged. And as for your dust speck, that we shall boil in a hot steaming kettle of bezelnut oil. Boil it, gasped Horton. Oh, that you can't do. It's all full of persons. They'll prove it to you. Mr. Mayor, Horton called out. Mr. Mayor, you've got to prove now that you really are there. So call a big meeting, get everyone out, make every who holler, make every who shout, make every who scream. If you don't, every who is going to end up in the bezelnut stew. And down on the dustback, the scared little mayor quick called a big meeting in the Whoville town square. And his people cried loudly. They cried out in fear. We are here. We are here. We are here. We are here. The elephant smiled. That was as clear as a bell. You kangaroos surely heard that very well. All I heard, snapped the big kangaroo, was the breeze and the faint sound of wind through the far distant trees. I heard no small voices, and you didn't either. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me neither. Grab him, they shouted. Cage the big dope. Lasso his stomach with 10 miles of rope. Tie the knots tight so he'll never shake loose. Then dunk that dumb speck in the hazelnut juice. Horton fought back with great vigor and vim, but the Wickersham gang was too many for him. They beat him, they mauled him, they started to haul him into his cage, but he managed to call to the mayor, don't give up. I believe in you all. A person's a person, no matter how small. And you very small persons will not have to die if you make yourselves heard. So come on now and try. So Horton's trying to get the mayor to get everybody in the town to come out and scream at the top of their lungs so that the Wickershams and the kangaroos and the Vladikovs will hear him before they take that dust speck and they bury it in the bezelnut stew. Mayor grabbed a tom-tom. He started to smack it, and all over Whoville's they whooped up a racket. They rattled tin kettles. They beat on brass pans, on garbage pail tops and old cranberry cans. They blew on bazookas and blasted grape tubes, on clarinets, whoompas and boompas and flutes. Gusts of loud racket rang high through the air. They rattled and shook the whole sky, and the mayor called up through the mad hullabaloo, hey Horton, how's this? Is our sound coming through? And Horton called call back, I can hear you just fine, but the kangaroo's ears aren't quite strong as mine. They don't are a thing. Are you sure all your boys, are they doing their best? Are they all making noise? Are you sure every who down in Whoville is working? Quick look through your town, is there anyone shirking? Through the town rushed the mayor, from the east to the west, but every who seemed to be doing his best. Everyone seemed to be yapping or yipping. Everyone seemed to be bipping or bipping. But it wasn't enough, all this racket and roar. He had to find someone to help him make more. He raced through each building, he searched floor to floor. The mayor is going crazy trying to find if everyone is screaming at the top of their lungs. And just as he felt he was getting nowhere, he suddenly burst through a door and the mayor discovered one shirker, quite hidden away in the Fairfax apartment 12J. A very small shirker named Jojo was just standing, and bouncing a yo-yo, not making a sound, not a yip, not a chirp. And the mayor rushed and said, and he grabbed the young twerp and he climbed with the lad up the Eipelberg Tower. This, cried the mayor, is your town's darkest hour, the time for all who's who have blood that is red to come to the aid of their country. He said, we've got to make noise in greater amounts, so open your mouth, lad, for every voice counts. Thus he spoke as he climbed. When they got to the top, the lad cleared his throat and he shouted out, yop. And the yop, that one small extra yop, put it over. Finally, at last, from the speck on that clover, their voices were heard. They rang out clear and clean, and the elephant smiled. Do you see what I mean? They've proved they are persons, no matter how small, and their whole world was saved by the smallest of all. How true? How true, said the big kangaroo. And from now on, you know what I'm planning to do? From now on, I'm going to protect them with you. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me too. From the sun in the summer, from the rain when it's fallish, I'm going to protect them no matter how smallish. No bezel nuts do. It was tight. It was close. A person's a person no matter how small. Doesn't matter how big you are. You know what's right and wrong inside your heart. You need to stand up for people that can't stand up for themselves. You need to realize that a person's a person no matter how small. And you need to realize too, when your friends and your family call on you, that you can't be shirking and bouncing a yo-yo and not playing your part to help your family and your friends and your classmates. These are tough times, people. We need to look out for one another, like Horton looked out for the Who's. We need to stand up and yop when it's time to yop. So, I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope you like elephants. I hope you don't dislike all kangaroos after this. Get outside, enjoy the sunshine. Ciao.
2, 3. Okay.
Oh.
Hey, good. Hey. Hey.
Hello, sweetie. How are you, honey? Hello. Hello. Oh. Hello. Hello, honey. Hello, honey.
My name is
Yeah, do we go all the way in the water? Es que yo pantalón no tengo y de repente tengo camiseta.
何巻いちゃった誰お兄お兄さん頭にできたよ
La tía está recibiendo una de... A la chica la he pagado. Déjala tranquila, ya aquí está, no puede ni abrir los ojos. No puede ni a mí me habla el novio, seguro que... A ver, no, no tanto.
One more.